Shit, she about to run my edges off. What is up, guys? I'm back with another video. I know it's been ages since I posted a video. Literally the last time I posted was in 2019 of September, and it was a Camila reaction. So I'm sorry, but I am here. I am back, and I'm here to give you guys a little update of basically where I've been, how I'm doing, and basically how my 2020 till now has been. And hopefully y'all stick around because it is a lot. Let's start off, September 2019. I posted my last video. I did record my reaction to Camila's album. I noticed when I edited it, it didn't seem genuine. And at the time, I wasn't really feeling myself, and I felt like I was stuck in a rut. And don't get me wrong, because I do love the album. It's a really good album. But personally, I wasn't 100%. Usually I'm like so enthusiastic and so out there, but that reaction wasn't it. And that point, it really hit me. That was like, maybe I need to take a break, just focus on myself and get things back in the groove so I can come back and give you guys all this content. And that break ended up turning into a really freaking long one, over a goddamn year, and I do apologize. I'm so sorry. 2020 hits. I'm out on New Year's Day, celebrating with my friends and family and my girlfriend. We're out getting lit, things were doing okay. We heard about COVID, that was in China and all that. We didn't think it was gonna hit the US the way it did, and so quickly. Before COVID hit the US, me and my girlfriend, we planned on taking a trip to Miami for the first time because it was our 1-year anniversary. She's never been on a plane. We never been to Miami, so we were like, fuck it, let's do something big for our 1 year. That got canceled, like other events that were supposed to happen. Camila's tour got canceled. I was supposed to go see BTS with my girl because she loves BTS. That got postponed. Fortunately, I did go see A.K.A. Oh my god, she's amazing. That Time to Shine tour was thebomb.com. Like, literally, I would have gone seen it again. It was so good. And her vocals, her stage presence, just A.K.A. herself was so good. I was so upset for her that her whole tour had to get canceled because of this. She literally put so much effort and time into this tour, and I'm gonna talk about it more in another video because I do have a bunch of videos and clips and all that, so I will share that with you guys. I just had to give her some credit because it was so good, and she's so small, just like a little baby. Moving on, so the lockdown happened in March, and a lot of things shut down in Rhode Island, and a lot of people were out of jobs. People were just all at home quarantining. Myself, I was working the whole entire pandemic. As I mentioned before, I was doing security and I work in the hospital. So the hospital doesn't get shut down, especially during a pandemic that requires medical attention. At first, we didn't have as many people, but as months started coming by, it just hit. It was super bad. We had to be super cautious going in COVID floors and going on certain calls because, we have to wear all this proper PPE gear because, we don't want to catch anything. We still got to do our job at the end of the day, but we have to be super cautious now. Nobody wants to catch COVID. I'm not gonna lie, there was a couple scares where I thought oh shit, do I have this? Because other people would come in and the next day saying, oh, I have to go get tested because I think I have COVID. And we're like, we just worked with these people. What the fuck? It was rough, because I lived at the time with my grandmother and my mother, and I didn't want to go back home, especially with my grandmother. She has stage 4 lung cancer. I didn't want to come home and give her COVID. So literally, it was just work and home. My girlfriend would come over because, we work in the same place. A lot of stuff was closed down, so we didn't really have much to pass the time. So usually me and my girlfriend would go hang out with 2 of our coworkers, and you know, we'd chill, watch movies, play games, and, you know, try to make the most of it, because literally this pandemic was just really getting to us. It was good to have that quality time and actually feel a little bit normal. Months go by. Once summer hit, it was a bit better because Rhode Island was actually doing pretty good. So a lot of restrictions got lifted up. I was able to celebrate my birthday. You know, my girlfriend got an Airbnb and invited my coworkers one day and my family and friends the next day. And, you know, we didn't want to pressure anybody. So we told people, hey, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to come. If you don't feel good, just stay home. Like, you know, it's totally understandable. But I was glad to have that moment and celebrate with them and feel, you know, a bit normal. And the summer was a little bit more eventful. You know, I went to New Hampshire, you know, got to go to Hampton Beach, enjoy myself over there. It was good, you know, it felt great. Then in August, my girlfriend and I, we decided to move in together. So we have an apartment now. As you can see, it's a very different area than what you guys have seen in my other videos. So we moved into an apartment, 2-bedroom, and we've been chilling, being a little lovey-dovey boos and all that stuff. And it feels nice to actually have a place and call it our own. Eventually I'll give y'all a little tour once it doesn't look a little crazy, because we're still kind of like getting things and setting things up. So I'll give y'all a little tour eventually. Things were going good, you know? Things were getting a little easier. Moved in with my girlfriend. I felt better. And then fall hit, and because so many people came to Rhode Island for vacation and all that, it spiked back up. A lot of stuff got restricted once again. In November, my account manager, he tells me that I'm getting demoted from my position. Mind you, I was a supervisor for the hospital for like 3 years basically. 6 months into when I started working, I became a supervisor. To me, it was a shock because I was not expecting that. You know, I told him, I was like, what did I do wrong? You know, I always do everything. I keep everything detailed, reported, all that stuff. So what's going on? And he tells me that he thinks that I'm too nice with the guards. And I'm like, how is that the case? Like, I don't get it. Because if I was too nice, everybody would be doing what the fuck they wanted in that place. It's the hospital. Security. You gotta be on your shit when you're working over there. That's the excuse they gave me. So I ended up becoming like a backup supervisor. And I was like, you know, maybe this is a sign. I should fix up my resume, start applying to places, and go somewhere else. Why am I gonna stay into a place that's just not gonna have my back at the end of the day, you know? Like, I put so much time and effort into a place just to get knocked down. That hit me too, because I just felt like, damn, I'm like, I really don't mean shit. But I had my girlfriend who was supportive, my friends were supportive, and, you know, they lifted me up a bit. So it ended up being okay. Then December hit. Just when I thought things were gonna get okay, they weren't. I get a call from my mom, and she tells me she tested positive for COVID. And I'm like, literally, so many thoughts are just going through my head. I'm like, how, where, like, how the hell could this happen? Because my mom is the most cautious person ever. Like, she would always be masked up, always carrying hand sanitizer, wiping everything. Like, she was not trying to catch the shit, and she wasn't trying to give it to my grandmother. Like, she was very cautious. So it was a surprise that she actually caught COVID. A couple weeks before she tested positive, she recently moved into an apartment with my grandmother, and it was going good for them. My mom didn't like the environment she was living in, so she got out, and it did well for my grandmother as well, because at the time she was just not herself and she was so out of it. And when she moved out to the apartment, she was doing a lot better, you know? She was doing a lot more for herself, actually getting up and doing things. And you could tell like a whole difference. Even her doctors were saying like, this is a whole 360, and things were looking so good. We had a spare bedroom. So I told my mom, listen, me and Diana, we have proper PPE gear. We can take care of you. Stay with us. We would, you know, bring my mom food, do things, clean everything every time she used the bathroom, all that, wearing the proper PPE because, you know, we still got to be cautious. Waited a couple days before going back to work and all that. Got tested. I had to get tested. My girlfriend, my grandmother, my brother, his girlfriend, all had to get tested. And we all came back negative. My brother went to go stay with my grandmother, take care of her and help her out with things. I would go there occasionally and help her out because, you know, I was taking care of my mom at the time as well. So I would go over there, give my Vivo a shower and have, you know, a little spa day, as I used to say. She'd always laugh because I'm like, yeah, you getting the special treatment, girl. And she would just start laughing. Things were okay. It seemed like we had things under control. Boy, was I wrong. December 17th. It snowed like crazy. I get a call from my brother and he's like, Brit, you gotta come over here now. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, I can't get Volv up to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, all right, let me finish the yard and I'm gonna go right over there. Like moments on the way there, my brother's telling my mom like, hey, my girlfriend's here and we're trying to get her up and she's like, we can't get her up. And my grandmother's not a big person. So it was just like, something is definitely going on. So we thought maybe she's having a stroke or something. My mom was just like, call the paramedics and go from there. So by the time I got there, the paramedics arrived and I saw my grandmother. But unfortunately, that was the last time that my grandmother actually looked at me. Like I was able to actually see my grandmother awake and visual. It's not easy. So my grandmother gets brought to the hospital, and at the time there's restrictions. Nobody can go to the hospital. I would call and text my friends and be like, hey, can you check in on so and so, like peek in, and they would do me that favor and like check in on her and see if she's okay, and she was doing good. My mom gets a call and they said that my grandmother has ammonia, and that's why it's causing her to be the way that it is. And they tested her for COVID and it was positive. And we were just like in shock. We weren't expecting that at all, because literally the way she was, it seemed like she probably had a stroke. So we were in disbelief. She stays overnight. She did okay the first night. The second night goes and morning comes. We get a call. And the doctor tells us that my grandmother's not gonna make it the night at all. And that hit like a fucking truck. Nobody was expecting that at all. My grandmother had lung cancer and she fought for a good 2 years and she was doing so good. So we thought, hey, maybe she still got some spark. She's a fighter, But my grandmother couldn't. It was too much for her. Luckily, I wasn't able to go say my last goodbye. It was me and my mother and my sister that went to go say our last goodbyes to my grandmother. And everyone else had to be virtual because it was so limited. And she took her last breath. And it was hard seeing that, because going in there and seeing someone that was full with such life and such a happy woman laying there with vents to help her breathe and everything, it sucked. And she's in a better place and all that. Sorry. She's with her family and she's at peace. She doesn't have to suffer anymore. It was just not what I expected. That was the last thing I expected to happen. Especially after everything. I thought things were gonna go good. I didn't think I was gonna cry like this. We couldn't even properly bury my grandmother the way that she wanted, because she wanted a Christian burial, and you know, she got the burial part, but we weren't able to have a proper wake or funeral for her. And it was crazy because in Rhode Island, they lifted a lot of restrictions for like restaurants and lounges and all these different places, but we couldn't have, they didn't lift restrictions on the funeral parlors. We had no wake. It was just a funeral, a viewing with select people, and then to the church and to the burial site. That was it. I know she's laid to rest now, but I just wish things were different, just that she could have a proper wake and everybody could come see my grandmother, you know, before she was buried. This pandemic, it's crazy. I wouldn't want anyone to go through what me and my family went through. Losing someone is already a lot, but with all these restrictions, it was a whole different scenario. With that being said, we had to postpone her funeral because me, my girlfriend, my brother, and his girlfriend, we all tested positive for COVID. So we had to quarantine before we could properly put my grandmother to rest. My mom stayed with us for the time being, and she stayed with us throughout January as well, because, you know, she had to go back to that apartment on her own. She was just there living with my grandmother, and then now having to go back to an empty apartment. So then, as you can see, I cut my hair. February, I cut my hair. I was like, you know, I've been wanting to cut my hair for so long, and especially after everything that I've been through, I was like, why second guess myself? Like, I'm over here questioning how I'm gonna look. So I was like, fuck it, just cut it. And now I love it. I feel so much lighter on my hair. My hair can breathe. It's great. It's been rough, but I've tried to look at the best of things. You know, I gained a guardian angel. She'll always be having my back, especially these past couple months. Every time like certain things happen, I'm like, homegirl, she's looking out for me. She's a real one. You see her? She's looking out for me. She's looking out. Just when I thought things were not gonna get worse, they get worse. This month, literally 2 weeks ago, I was up getting ready to go to work, and I got a text. Not even like a comment, like face to face. I got a text saying that I'm getting demoted from being a backup supervisor just a regular guard. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why? I don't understand it. And they were saying that, I was calling out a lot, and that I wasn't really there, and I wasn't really engaging with the other supervisors. But mind you, the guy who took over my spot, I would try to conversate with this dude, and it was like talking to a wall half the time. And every time I try to get included of like what's going on with work and all that, especially after I came back from dealing with COVID and my grandmother, it was like I was a one-man team. Like, I was not included with whatever was going on. I was like, what the hell do you want me to do? Especially when I'm trying. So at that point, I was like, I'm not taking no more bullshit from this fucking company and that fucking place, because it's just not doing any good for my mental health. It's becoming a toxic environment. I'm not doing it. So I said, I fucking quit. I quit. I talked to the captain. I talked to the account manager. Even when I told the account manager, he wanted to keep me. He wanted me to do a whole different shift. And I was like, no, it doesn't apply with my life. And it hasn't done me any good ever since the whole thing in November. I'm good. I don't need that shit in my life. So I left that job. I'm a free woman. I'm unemployed right now. I have an interview next week. Well, second interview, because I did a first interview. Now I got a second interview. So hopefully things go good. I don't have to work in a toxic environment anymore. Literally, ever since I left, it was like a weight lifted from my shoulders. I've been doing things. I started working out, going to the gym, dieting, because like I had no time. I'd do doubles, come home, I'd go get fast food, all that. Now I'm actually taking care of myself, which I should have been a long time ago. But with this pandemic and everything that's happened, I just felt like I had no time. But now I've been managing it a lot better. It's been great. I never want to go back to that hellhole, ever again. My advice, if you're working in a toxic environment and you feel like you should leave, just fucking leave. Just do it. It's worth it. Thank God I have my girlfriend. She's been amazing and has supported me 100%, especially when I showed her the messages, and she did not hesitate. She was like, if you want to quit, quit. I got this. We'll work this out. I got a plan. Don't worry about it. And I'm so grateful for her. I love that woman. I love that woman. Yeah, that is basically how my life has been going. Y'all are updated now. We're on the same page. And now I can finally say I am back to giving y'all content on this channel. I do miss you guys. I really love you guys. Honest to God, I appreciate the people who are still here and active on my channel. If you guys have any other questions for me, you guys can comment down below. I have a lot of new social media. My Twitter account got suspended and I lost my followers that I had of Normani and Lauren, and I cry inside, and the Fifth Harmony account. I'll put that in the link below. Follow me, interact with me, guys. It's like I'm talking to a wall on my other Twitter. It sucks. I also have a TikTok. I do stupid shit videos. Y'all can follow that. I'll put that down below as well. And my Instagram's still the same, so you can follow that. That is it, guys. I love you guys again. I can't say this enough. And I will definitely be back with more content like I usually say in the other videos. See you next time.